Hi and welcome to Down the Shed. So here we have item 1236A. Quick look at the schematic diagram and component listing, which you can use the silk screen to complete the kit. 100 ohms are brown, black, 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 brown, and the 47Ks are yellow, purple, black, brown, brown. Well, look at that. All lit up and flashing, so we know that one's fine. All the LEDs are working. So both boards are complete. We're about ready to start on the main PCB. As you'll notice, some of the bottom LEDs have to be bent up so they'll actually fit into its acrylic case. You don't have to put it in the case, but it's there, so why not use it? We'll just bend those back as far as we can when it's actually in the case, or I might try and bend them across the board a bit like this, a bit like that to get them to fit. So we'll see. Okay, so C11 and C4 are both 104s or 0.1 UFs. So C4 is here, C1 is there. Shut up, dog. Right, SP1 is our speaker, so that'll be last. So we could put this one on, but to keep everything in camera, I'm going to do R2 next. Now R1, 2, 3 and 4 are 102s, 1K. So that's R2. Now I'll go in with R7 and R11. R7 is a 20K 223. Right, I've now got a discrepancy in a decision due to a major balls up on the IC Station website. They've got SMD resistor R7 20K 223 and SMD resistor R9 22K 223. Wow, 22K is 223, 2230s, 20K is 203, 20, 20 and 3 zeros. So I'm actually going to go with R7 being a 20K and a 203 and inform them of their almighty cock up. So R11, I don't know why I've No, I haven't. Well, I thought I tinned the pad up. Okay, so we're doing R7 20k to 03. Let's hide them behind this cap here. Right, 51k 513 51000. That's R11 down here. Okay, so R11 51k is on. Right, C8 and C10 are electrolytic surface mount caps. So you're probably not going to pick this up on the camera, but one side of the board does have a component does have two little 45-degree angles or bevels on it. Match that up with the board. So basically we want the black stripe on the component facing in towards the board, and that keeps the shape matching. And done. So that's C8 on board. Now we won't do the other one yet. I think it'd be best to get this chip in before we do C2 and R8. And we've got some micro switches down here, R10, R9, obviously go with the switches, as does R11. Now let's get R10 and R9 done. So R10 is 33k. That's R10 333, 33k 3330s, and R9 is a 223. There we go. So next I think it would be wise to put the two ICs in while we've got the room to work around them. So IC2 is an 8002B. Right, so let's get this, I've put some solder paste on there, so let's get this chip on board. And we'll run the soldering iron over that. That your little pin goes with the gold mouth on the silk screen. Now again, remember, dot for pin 1 goes with the gold mouth. So let's get this one pegged down. Now I've got like the flat chisel piece on. One more check. R8 is a 47k. R6 is a 0. There we go. Right, so C1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 are 1UFs or 105s. They're pretty chunky as well. That's C2. So C1 is up here, or down there as far as you're concerned. So we'll go in order. C3, is over here to the right of this IC. There's 5 to the left of this IC. 6 is above or below it as far as you're concerned, which is to the right of this IC or your left. Right, so I'm just going to turn the board around and make sure they're all good. So next we'll get that last electrolytic cap on. Right, that's got that one. We'll do C9 100 PF, which goes down here.
That was me.
So the switches are on and they're through hole. So R1 is 1K, 102. Right, little puppy goes down here. So that's R1. So now this is this part of the board done. That's our speaker. This is where the tree's going to sit. So we've got our main switch, our USB supply. That's the battery pack. Not recommended. Use the USB. We've got R3, R4 over there. R2 is over here, is done. So R3, R4 are the controllers for the 1, 2, 3, 4 for the corner LEDs. So that'll be the other two 1Ks. So I think next we'll probably work on P1 and switch. Actually, we're going to put the micro USB in first because the through hole, tiny solder joints. So I think that one's best done next. The switch will be a piece of piddle. These are really tiny, I hate these. Don't know why they need all 5, because this is literally just for power. So get yourself a decent blodge on these two. These are going to pin it down. So that's the USB on board, the micro USB. It's not too hot, which is good. Right, so now we can put that big switch in, like so. Again, on these corner joints you can put plenty of solder in to anchor it down. Just giving it a few seconds between to cool. Okay, that's good. Right, we'll just peg R3 and 4 on for the LEDs. Right, R5 is a 4.7R or a 4.7. That's down here, next to where the TF card goes. Like so. So what we've got left now are 4 LEDs on the corners here. The speaker, the USB in, which doesn't go there, it goes here. What's P1? P1 will be the audio out for the speaker. So that'll be that. So I'll do the USB next. So just check your pins before you sit them on the board. I've got some big solder somewhere, there it is. So I'm going to do the 2 ground planes to hold it in place first. Right, that is held in place. Let that cool a bit before I come back and chuck any more on there. Just going to check it under the lens. Right, now for the audio socket. It's the only way it can go on because of the 3 and 2 legs. Right, so there are 2 pins underneath holes so it won't sit flat. So I'm going to have to blue tack it in spot, double check it like so. Right, I've already popped 3 of the LEDs on, so remember positive long leg. So that'll be pink LED number 4. I nearly made the mistake of putting them on the Christmas tree. I couldn't figure out why there were only 5 LEDs, 1 spare. I nearly put extra out of my own supply in, cocked up the tree, but luckily I double checked. So that's the last of the 4 LEDs in. So now we are down to the TF card, the speaker and the tree itself. Right, so there we have it so far. The other 2 of these LEDs weren't working, but a touch of solder on their bases sorted that out. So let's just I put some YouTube friendly songs which are beyond copyright. So that's going through an old project I did, which I haven't got a video on. It was before my video. Basically that comes as a complete kit. All you do is build the bloody frame, put the speakers and stuff in. It's a bit of a con, but... So as you can see, that should... So that's volume down and volume up. Play fast forward and or next some previous tracks. So for some reason I put more than 2 tracks on there, but only 2 are playing. Oh, Big Clive live in 30 minutes. Manx Beard Club. Right, so basically all I've got left to do now is mount the TF card and the tree itself, and then build the acrylic case. So let's crack on with that. Right, so a bit of solder paste on the corner of the TF card holder. Let's welded that side in. We've got a bunch of little prongs at the back to sort out. They're going to be the fun part. Right, this corner does seem to have a bit of a tab there, so I'm just going to slop a bit in. Like that. So that's the TF card on. Now we just need to solder it into place, or connect it rather, with the pins on the back. So I'm just going to run a bit of this along, he says. See if we can drag this down. Check that under the lens. Okay, so 1 small bridge. Keep the 2 pins and drag towards you. Which ain't working. There we go. So that's all the pins now soldered. So basically I should be able to load music onto a TF card. Let's find one that hasn't got anything on it. Right, so we'll try plugging this memory card in. And there we have it. I'll have to fast forward through a lot of these because of the 10-second rule.
Child, Jesus Christ.
So there we have it. That's our TF USB, no Bluetooth, I did get that wrong. So we've got USB memory stick or memory card enabled music playing Christmas tree. So let's get the tree onto the circuit board, let's get the speaker onto the circuit board and build this puppy up. What I suggest we do first is actually get the legs on. So I empty this bag of hardware and we're connecting the 4 brass pillars to the board. So this is the top of the board, all the components sit underneath. So just screw these into your 4 corners. So I'm using the short, fat M3s, I think they are. And I think they're about 20-25mm pillars. You only need to be finger tight. So there we are, we're on our feet. So most people could all use tape. I'll try a bit of masking tape, I don't think it'll work. I just tend to pick away at the corners with a bit of a tweezer action. There we go, it's coming off. That'll be Big 5 Live. So that's the base 4 degrees Tidworth. How nice. So we want to get our speaker on, which is going to go that way. Now if our board is going on this way, our speaker connection, so I'll put the speaker on this way. So basically that's going to be 4 more of these long ones. So I don't know if it matters whether you go which way up. Actually no, let's put the nuts on the top so the screws are flatter against the base. We'll work out whether this is right or wrong shortly. Yeah, this one wants to go on cross-threaded for some reason. Feels like it's home. Yep. Okay, so that's the speaker on. So now we need to connect. So it tells us to watch our polarities on the speaker, which would be useful if there was any polarities on the speaker. So I'm going to guess that left's negative and right's positive. That would normally be the way. So I'm just going to do a quick check on that. So here we have the speakers in, the bass is on, you see the lights flashing. So that will be on the floor like that. So let's get the tree on. So you'll see on the board we've got 2 pluses and 2 minuses. So when the trees are slid together, I believe that's the correct orientation, we've got plus, minus, minus, plus. So we want this plus and that plus to match up with these 2 and need 2 minuses to match up with those 2. So plus, minus, minus, there we go. So the tree will sit on like so. So now we need to solder that down, which is a lot easier said than done once they're in these orientations. I might use the old solder paste again, I think. So that's one on. Plus, that's a plus. So if I do the minus on this side, we should actually get a circuit running. We have got the top LED to put on still. Right, that's 2 of the oh, perhaps we should peg that one down. Let's get one on each side done just to hold it in situ. There we go, that's firmly, well, it's as good as it needs to be to do the test. So let's plug her back in and hopefully we should get the Christmas tree lights flashing on this one. There we go. So that's the working model. So I'll just finish soldering the tree down. So as far as kits go, I would say this was definitely in the top tree. Top tree! See what I did there? Yeah, this is definitely a good kit. I like this one. Let's get the top LED in. So make sure I pick the colour changer up. Okay, so we've got a colour changer. So just watch the polarities, they are marked plus minus. Or plus rather, that's your long leg. Now, I don't want this too long because I don't know how much height I've got. So let's get that soldered down. I'm just going to use the paste. That stinks. I definitely haven't got coronavirus, if you can smell that. Right, so let's give that a quick test. There we go. So the bottom lights flash when the music's playing, but the tree will flash whatever, so you don't have to have music playing. So let's crack on and finish the case. I will show you a very important hint or hack, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know why they call hints and tips hacks these days. Hack something you do into somebody's computer or a bush with a big flipping saw. Don't need that running anymore. So let's get the rest of this base on. So we need to clear the rest of the panels from their nasty cover on the acrylic. So we'll use a piece of tape again. In fact, these are so easy to peel, you only need the edge of your tweezers to start it. So the edges will fit into the slots on here, and you can see you've got your cutouts for the various parts going around the board. You can also see that's going to sit slightly off the ground. What part should we do next? That was that one, so this will be, they're quite obvious which ones are which. This one's got 3 holes in it for the buttons. I'm almost peeling this with fingers that have no nails. So again, just the corner has already started. It's that easy. Then just start a corner near the base where it's not going to be noticed in case you do put a tiny little scratch in. So this one will slot in where the buttons are. So I'm going to get that one in first. Now these cases are tricky buggers to put together. They always have been and they always will be. Now what I really want to do is screw that one to the base. So push all this crap out of the way. What I'm going to show you now is just gold. No, nothing wants to stay in place. Okay, let's start with that other one. So this is the USB and audio out. Now it will push against some of these LEDs, so you just need to bend those in, perhaps up a bit like that. That was the only problem when building it. You didn't know how far you could have the LEDs sticking out until you've built your first one. So what I'm going to do is take that off, get one of your long thin bolts, put that through the little hole like so, and that hole will literally go into there, into the base, but you need to get a nut in there as well. Now these aren't the easiest things to do unless you get yourself a magnet. Now this is a car magnet for getting crap out of the engine bay and whatnot, and just use the magnet to slip the nut inside of the hole there, and then try and get it started. Right, you can pull that away and hold your finger on there. So now hopefully we can get the screwdriver and get that turning. that taken? No, it isn't. They are tricky little buggers. There we go. So now that will just pull the two parts of the perspex, acrylic, whatever, together. Do not over tighten these ferociously. You will snap this acrylic in a heartbeat. But that is basically our first piece of acrylic on. So we'll do the same with the next side. So I'll do this one on camera. So grab ourselves a little nut on the edge of our magnet. Grab our panel. So I've still got to strip the other panels down anyway. It slots in like so. As you can see, there's another one that slots in here and some that slot in the top. So we've got plenty of these little puppies to do. And now we want to get our nut in, finger on. This is like a 3/4 handed job, this. They are tricky as hell until you find the knack, and the knack is using that magnet. And there we have it. You could use a smaller magnet. I just find that one does it for me. So there we go. That's tight enough. It doesn't need to be any tighter. And that's two sides of our case on. So I don't know whether we're going to be able to get a finger in there to push any of these out. Like so. There we go. Now I suppose we could put those two together, and that's how high it's going to sit off the deck. So this is a pretty big puppy. I can probably push some of these round. Okay. So if you leave them long enough, you can bend the legs and still get the LEDs into some sort of order. I think we will just put those two together. So last one on camera, because you get a much better view of this one. So let's get ourselves set up. One nut, one bolt. Bolt goes in the hole. Nut pulls itself to the magnet. Bolt pulls itself to the nut and the magnet. And screw. There we have it. And tighten. Again, no need to over tighten, just enough to hold it together without going loose. And that's that. So that will be our completed product. What you can see here is what it will look like. I think that's quite neat. Let's plug some power in. One last effect, and then I'll come back to the finished product. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I've let it down so you get a better view. Just turn that off. Just plug this in. So there we have our, and there we have it. It's in its case, as you can see. There's our memory card. There's our buttons. Play, pause, volume up and down. Oh, where did the power go? There we are. What's going on? Okay, Houston, we have a problem. So there we have it. Did it come with a remote? No, it didn't, so I've got no infrared. So, as you can see, it shines nicely. There's our pink ones that flash on the base. So we'll just get our extension speaker. So we'll plug the extension speaker in. Why are these cables shy? Excuse me. So we need to find a decent cable, which is being harder than this. Try plugging this one back in.
Hark the herald angels sing. Hark the herald. On the first day of Christmas, my...
That's item number 12368. Remember, shed-ICS for a 15% discount on your next order. It's currently $18.71, normally $25.99. So cracking little kit, and you get quite a few spares with it, so don't worry about losing the odd SMD. You get at least one spare of each. Absolutely cracking little kit. Love putting this one together, and I think I might even buy some of these next year for presents for people, because that is just cracking. So let's have another quick listen. And without the external speaker. That's enough. Content match. Nearly forgot about that. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. But it won't be any of these exciting Christmas ones.